Okay. Well, let me adjust the camera again. And hello, everybody. So, this week I plan on reviewing the Lego Movie 2, which I saw about 3 days ago with my friend Zach Keller. And you're, you're probably going to like what I have to say about this movie. So, to give a little background, this movie is actually the sequel to the wildly successful Lego movie from 2014. And this movie pretty much picks up where the first film left off. And right away, I have one major criticism with the movie. My major criticism with the film is that, uh, based on what I saw in the trailers, I thought I was going to jump right into the idea of these cutesy aliens attacking Emmett and his friends and kidnapping them. But no, it starts the story and then it pauses for like a 5 year break to signify the passage of time. But the problem is the movie doesn't really go anywhere until the actual kidnapping, which happens like maybe I think the kidnapping happens at like the end of the first third of the movie. So that's my one major criticism is that the story it takes a while for it to get started, it just kind of farts around with goofy humor, but then once they finally get to the main plot beat, that's when things really start to pick up. And then it's a set of craziness and musical numbers. And what I also like, the first movie was kind of a allegory for how Legos can really influence you to be very creative and very imaginative. And it also kind of showed you that imagination is not something that should be stifled in any way. In this one, there's a lot of lessons. There's growing up, working with your sister, and there's also an idea of don't lose your optimism or your naive positivity, but don't let it make you immature. So there's kind of messages for people that are, the target audience, which I'm assuming is like 10 to 15 year olds, and then people that are older than that who are kind of nostalgic old men or nostalgic young 20 somethings, which Zach was, but I guess I could say that I did have a lot of Legos growing up, but I wasn't really as obsessive with it. And I did what the There's someone honking outside. I have no idea who the hell it is. Anyways, okay, I got about 9 minutes to talk about this. So yeah, I feel like the movie does have a lot of stuff. It's one of those movies where it has a lot of messages it's trying to cram in there, and it does a really good job at explaining them both. And the ending is pretty heartwarming, where the brother makes amends of his sister after throwing her out of their room and getting into an argument. And there is a funny joke in there about Momageddon, which I'm not gonna spoil it for you in case you haven't seen the movie, but let's just say if you listen to the word closely and think about it, you'll understand where it's going. So I think as far as the characters is that Chris Pratt, he kind of plays that same character who's kind of that heroic, likable, but kind of immature. We've seen him play that. I think the only movie I've seen him in where he didn't do that was probably Jurassic World is probably his most mature character I've seen. I mean, I know he was in Moneyball and he played a more grounded guy, but I think a lot of them kind of see him as that playful frat boy guy who's into shenanigans and stuff. But I guess he's kind of like a more attractive, more physically fit Seth Rogen. Only Seth Rogen is not so much. Uh, Help me out here, guys. Are they really that similar? I'm not even sure if that analogy made sense, but yeah. And I think the one thing I really do love about the movie is that much like how Disney has done the thing where they have last minute villains thrown in, this one kind of turns the tables on you. Because when you do see the characters, the main character that's supposed to be the villain, they flip the tables on you at the last second, and you realize that the villain is actually a hero, and the person that's helping Emmett is an evil version of Emmett. So it's kind of this idea of turning the tables a little bit. You think that this character is supposed to be a villain, but then one of the heroes turns out to be the villain, and the villain turns out to be the hero. So it is kind of a cool little twist on that. It's not some. It's kind of a surprise villain, surprise hero. So that's kind of a unique turn on some of the things that Disney's been doing lately. And there's still a lot of clever in jokes, like we don't have any Marvel characters because they're not returning our calls. That's kind of funny. It does kind of have this zany, goofy humor that people who are older in the audience are going to enjoy, but it's still colorful and bright enough for kids to enjoy it. So I think this movie, if you like the first Lego movie, you're probably gonna like it. This one just as much. I don't know. I haven't seen the first one in a while. This one I don't think is as good as the original because so much of a novelty that made the original a hit we've already seen before, and this one's doing the same thing. It's still good, but not as groundbreaking as the first film. So I honestly think this is one of those movies. It's a fun little adventure to take your kids on. I mean, there's enough goofy scenes and comedy and colorful moments for them to be enjoyed. And for you, mom and dad, there's just enough jokes in there for you to laugh and enjoy the movie instead of sitting there thinking, ah, God, why'd I bring Timmy to this movie? So I think there's something here for everybody. So that's it. And I will also keep you guys updated on stuff I'm going on. And hopefully, I'll have a review up next week that's a little more ambitious, but we'll see. There will be a review next week. I just don't know what of. So, see ya.